Toto Wolff stands in the Barcelona paddock and watches a man he no longer employs take the win his own team had owned all year. Then he says the kind of thing no Mercedes boss is supposed to say out loud. That if Hamilton smells blood, he goes. Mercedes leads both championships. Antonelli is running away with it. So why is the man running the dominant team suddenly talking about Lewis Hamilton like a threat he cannot stop? Because at Barcelona, the thing everyone thought was finished just started again. For 6 races, Mercedes does not lose. Kimi Antonelli is 19 years old, and in his second season he wins 5 Grand Prix in a row. China, Japan, Miami, Canada, Monaco, one after another. He becomes the youngest driver ever to lead the championship. The youngest to take pole, the youngest to win at Monaco. Records that stood for decades fall to a teenager in his second year. George Russell takes the one race Antonelli does not. 2 cars, 6 wins, 0 weekends given away. A team operating on a level nobody else on the grid can touch. By the time the season reaches Spain, the numbers look settled. Mercedes leads the Constructors' Championship by 79 points. Antonelli leads the drivers' standings and looks impossible to catch. The reigning champions from 2025, McLaren, have already collapsed to 3rd after a broken start. Red Bull sits 4th, and Max Verstappen, a 4-time champion, is buried in 7th, openly unhappy with the new 2026 cars. This is the part that matters. Mercedes is not hoping to win the title. Mercedes is deciding which of its own drivers gets it. That is the position every team wants and almost none reach. A fortress with 2 doors, and both of them lead to the trophy. Inside that fortress, the plan is simple. Keep both cars at the front, let the kid and the veteran race clean, bring the championship home, and argue about the details later. Nothing from outside is supposed to reach them, and for 6 races, nothing does. Then comes a name nobody in that fortress wanted to think about. A name that, 1 year ago, sounded finished. It is 2025, and Lewis Hamilton is drowning. He has just made the biggest move of his career. After 11 years and 6 world titles with Mercedes, he leaves for Ferrari. The most famous driver in the sport joins the most famous team. The whole racing world expects fireworks. What it gets instead is the worst season of his life. Across the entire 2025 campaign, Hamilton does not finish on a single Grand Prix podium, not one. In 19 years of racing, through every era and every car, he had never gone a full season without standing on that podium. Now it happens in red. His teammate, Charles Leclerc, beats him by 86 points. Ferrari finishes 4th. The one bright moment, a sprint win in China, gets swallowed when his car is thrown out of the main race for a worn plank under the floor. By the end of that year, people start asking the question out loud. Is this how it ends? Is the greatest driver of his generation going to fade away in a car he cannot tame? Even his old rival weighs in. Nico Rosberg, the man who beat Hamilton to the 2016 title and walked away days later, watches the season finale and calls it painful, an incredibly hard one. But Rosberg does not tell him to quit. He says the opposite. Stopping now is not cool. Keep going. If Hamilton had stopped there, this would be a very different story. He does not stop. He goes home, resets, and comes back for 2026 with one thing on his side that 2025 never gave him. A brand new car, built to brand new rules that nobody has figured out yet. A clean sheet of paper. And that clean sheet is about to matter more than anyone expects. The new season starts quietly for him. Australia, he finishes 4th. China, he climbs onto the podium in 3rd, his first real sign of life in red. Then 2 flat weekends in Japan and Miami, both 6th, and the doubts creep back in. But here is the detail that everyone missed at the time. A few races into the year, Ferrari changes something small on Hamilton's car. They switch his brakes off the units the team had been running and onto a different supplier, the exact brand Hamilton used for years at Mercedes. It sounds like nothing. A parts change buried in a setup sheet. It is not nothing. With the brakes he trusts, Hamilton can feel the front of the car again. He can lean on it, throw it into corners, find the edge he had been missing all of 2025. The confidence comes back. Think about that for a second. The greatest qualifier in the sport's history was being held back by a part fans never even see. From that point, the climb is sharp. Monaco, the hardest track on the calendar to pass, he finishes 2nd. Canada, 2nd again. 2 races, 2 podiums, right behind the Mercedes machine that has been crushing everyone. The painful season is gone. The driver who could not crack the top 5 in 2025 is now the closest thing to a challenger the front of the grid has. And he is the first to say, it did not happen alone. Hamilton has publicly credited Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur for believing in him through the worst of it, for not panicking when the results in 2025 refused to come. That belief is starting to look like the smartest bet in the paddock. The man Ferrari hired to chase a championship is finally driving like one. And then the calendar lands on Spain. Barcelona. A circuit Hamilton knows better than almost anyone alive, with 6 wins there across his career. The track where every weakness in a car gets exposed and every strength gets rewarded. He arrives second in the championship, 41 points behind Antonelli, still chasing, still, in most eyes, the underdog. That is about to change in the space of 2 hours. Sunday in Barcelona starts the way most of the season has gone. Mercedes at the front, the rest fighting for scraps. Antonelli leads. The fortress looks safe. Then the race comes to Ferrari. Hamilton and his engineers commit to an aggressive plan. 3 pit stops instead of the usual 2. More stops mean more time lost in the pit lane, but they also mean fresher tyres at the end. And fresh tyres at Barcelona are everything. It is a gamble. It only works if the race falls their way. The race falls their way. A virtual safety car comes out at the perfect moment, the kind of timing you cannot plan for, the kind that decides Grand Prix. Hamilton's strategy lines up exactly with it. He cycles to the front on the better rubber, and once he is there, nobody is catching him. This is where the story takes a turn nobody expected, because while Hamilton is pulling clear, the fortress cracks. Kimi Antonelli, the teenager who has not lost in 5 races, slows with a power unit failure and pulls off the track. His first retirement of the entire season, and it comes on the one day Hamilton is winning. The championship leader scores nothing. The man chasing him scores the maximum. Hamilton crosses the line first. His first win for Ferrari. His 106th career victory, and his first since the summer of 2024. A drought of nearly 2 years for one of the greatest to ever do it. The numbers around the win are staggering. At 41 years old, Hamilton becomes the oldest driver to win a Grand Prix since 1970, more than 50 years ago. Behind him, the podium fills out with George Russell second and Lando Norris third. 3 British drivers on the same podium, something the sport had not seen since 1968. For Ferrari, it is the team's first win in over a year and a half, and the 249th Grand Prix victory in its history. So yeah, the driver everyone wrote off 12 months earlier just beat the most dominant team on the grid at their own game. And in the paddock, watching it happen, are the 2 men who know exactly what it means. The first is Toto Wolff. For 11 years, Wolff ran the team that turned Hamilton into a legend. He signed him, won 6 titles with him, then watched him leave for a rival. Nobody alive has spent more time studying how Lewis Hamilton wins races. So when Wolff speaks after Barcelona, every word carries weight. He does not downplay it. He congratulates Hamilton directly, says the man worked harder than anyone to get here, and admits that if it could not be one of his own 2 drivers winning, then it should be Lewis. He says Hamilton merited it. Then he says the part that should worry every Mercedes fan watching. Asked straight out whether Hamilton is now a genuine threat to the championship, Wolff does not hesitate. Yes. Absolutely. He points to the math. The season is young, the gap is only 41 points, and in a sport with this many races left, that is nothing. And then comes the line, the one that turns a polite congratulations into a warning. If he smells blood, he goes. Wolff has seen it before. He describes the way it used to happen inside his own garage. A switch flips, the Hamilton train starts to roll, and once it is rolling, it is very difficult to stop. He lived through years of it. He knows the pattern better than anyone because he used to be the one benefiting from it. Now he is on the other side, watching that same train build speed in a red car. Let that settle. The boss of the team leading both championships, the team that has won 6 of 7 races, is the one telling you to be afraid of Hamilton. Not a fan, not a pundit chasing clicks, but the man whose entire season depends on stopping him. Wolff even tries to explain the resurgence. He credits the new 2026 car finally suiting Hamilton's style. He points to the bond Hamilton has built with his new race engineer. Whatever the reason, Wolff is certain of the result. The Hamilton he feared is back. One insider has spoken. He is not the only one. If you want every chapter of this title fight as it unfolds, subscribe. We cover the 2026 season, race by race, the strategy, the politics, all of it. Now to the second man. The one with the most reason to doubt Hamilton and the least doubt of all. So Wolff, the former boss, calls Hamilton a threat. But the second voice making all of this real cuts even deeper because of who it comes from. Nico Rosberg. Rosberg is the only teammate who ever beat Hamilton to a world title across a full season. He did it in 2016, in the same machinery, and the rivalry between them turned so bitter the two barely spoke for years. If anyone on earth has a reason to enjoy Hamilton struggling, it is the man who knows what it costs to beat him. That is what makes what Rosberg says so striking. He calls Hamilton's Barcelona win a legendary moment in the sport. He says Hamilton has climbed back to greatness. Standing trackside, he says he congratulated his old rival in person and felt for everything Hamilton went through during that brutal 2025 season. The bitterness, for one afternoon, is gone. Then Rosberg explains why this is not a one-off. He describes momentum the way only a champion can. Positive results make a driver more motivated, motivation makes him happier, happiness makes him work harder, and harder work makes more positive results. It feeds itself. Hamilton, he says, is in exactly that spiral now. And the way Rosberg puts it, all the ducks are falling into place. Pay attention to this next part, because it is the heart of the whole story. Rosberg is asked directly if Hamilton and Ferrari can actually dream of the championship, the 8th title. The one that would put Hamilton alone at the top of the sport forever, the one Ferrari has not won since 2008. His answer is 5 words long. They should, and they can. That is the 2016 champion, Hamilton's fiercest rival, the man who knows precisely how hard it is to win this thing, telling the world that Hamilton is back in the fight for all of it. 2 insiders, 2 histories with Hamilton, one as the boss, one as the rival, both looking at the same red car and seeing the same thing coming. But belief is one thing. The danger only becomes real if the team out front has a weakness, and it does. The flaw is not Hamilton, it is the Mercedes power unit. Go back 3 races. In Canada, George Russell is leading, running at the front, in control, on his way to points that matter. Then his car fails underneath him. A power unit problem ends his race with nothing to show for it. 25 points, gone in a puff of smoke. Now jump to Barcelona. Antonelli, the championship leader, the kid who had not put a wheel wrong in 5 races, slows with the same kind of failure and parks it. Another front-running Mercedes, another 0. 2 cars leading or near the front, 2 power unit failures, 3 races apart. For a team trying to win a championship, that is not bad luck. That is a pattern. Wolff knows it, and he does not hide from it. He says plainly that Mercedes cannot fight for a title if every other race, one of its cars throws away big points. He puts a number on it. 25 points lost in Canada, 18 more lost in Barcelona. And then he reaches for the oldest truth in racing. To finish first you have to finish. That is the crack. And here is why it matters so much for the title math. Every time a Mercedes fails to finish, it does not just lose its own points. It hands Hamilton a free run at the gap. When Antonelli scored nothing in Barcelona and Hamilton scored the full 25, the championship lead did not shrink a little. It collapsed by a chunk in a single afternoon. Mercedes still has the fastest car. That has not changed. But the fastest car is worthless if it does not reach the flag. And right now, the Mercedes power unit is the one thing standing between a perfect season and a nervous one. So put the pieces together. A red car getting quicker every weekend, a driver rediscovering the form that won him 7 titles, and a leading team whose own machinery keeps breaking at the worst possible moments. That is exactly the situation Wolff was describing. Blood in the water. And everyone now knows what Hamilton does when he smells it. This is where the season stands right now. Antonelli leads the Drivers' Championship on 156 points. Hamilton sits second on 115. George Russell is third on 106, just behind his old teammate. The gap from Hamilton to the lead is 41 points, and there are 15 races still to run. 41 points across 15 races is one bad Mercedes weekend away from being nothing. One more power unit failure. One more 0 for Antonelli. The margin that looked unbreakable in May looks a lot thinner now. And the outside threat is only half of it. The pressure is building inside the Mercedes garage as well. Russell has already admitted the title is now Antonelli's to lose. 2 teammates, both wanting the same crown, both taking points off each other every weekend, while Hamilton banks his own and waits. The longer the 2 Mercedes drivers fight each other, the more room the Ferrari has to close in. There is chaos elsewhere on the grid that only helps him. McLaren, the champions of 2025, have thrown away a season to reliability and cannot mount a challenge. Red Bull has slipped to the 4th fastest team, and Max Verstappen, stuck in 7th and unhappy with the new rules, may not even stay past the summer. The usual threats are gone. The road to the title is clearer than it has been in years, and Hamilton is the one with momentum on it. None of this guarantees anything. 41 points is still 41 points, and Antonelli is still the fastest teenager the sport has seen in a generation. Mercedes can still fix the reliability and slam the door shut, but that is the whole point. A door everyone thought was already shut is now wide open, and the man walking through it is the one Mercedes spent 11 years building into a champion. In a few weeks, in Austria, the next chapter gets written. And every weekend from here, the same question gets louder. Can anyone in that fortress actually stop him? What endures from a season is rarely the team that led in May. It is the story that refused to end. 1 year ago, Lewis Hamilton was a punchline. A 7-time champion who could not crack the podium in a car that fought him at every corner, with the whole sport quietly wondering if the end had arrived. He could have walked away. His old rival told him not to. He listened. Now he is the oldest race winner in more than 50 years, second in the championship, and the single biggest threat to a Mercedes team that has not put a wheel wrong all season. The boss who knows him best is worried. The rival who beat him says he can win it all. And the only thing standing between Hamilton and an 8th title that would make him the greatest of all time is 41 points and 15 races. The fortress was supposed to be impossible to breach. Instead, the man they let go is the one holding the hammer. If you want to watch how this ends, race by race, subscribe and stay with us. This story is just getting started.